Hello folks and welcome back to Isla Soleada. I recently challenged myself to create a beautiful city on just one tile, and the result is the city you're seeing right now. Now if you haven't seen the video where we built everything currently on your screen, there's a link in the description. I'm pretty proud of it, I gotta say. We've got a pretty good looking downtown with towering skyscrapers, a busy industrial district full of warehouses and factories, inner city suburbs with mixed density apartments and row houses, stadium district with restaurants and cafes, parks and historic hotels, a mountain hotel overlooking the city, and of course quite a lot of single family house suburbs. Here, here and here. But you guys have suggested so much more we could be adding to create a much more complete city, such as a zoo, a university, a theme park, a national park, an airport. An airport? Yeah, an airport. If you're a subscriber to the channel, you know just how great I am at building functional airports.
Te llamo para que vaya a recoger las paelleras. Y me acuesto en su, ya para abrir el restaurante que era el arroz. Voy a la playa, había subido la marea.
Okay, never mind, but we're still going to build one. An awesome airport, hopefully, sitting on a man-made island. And if you enjoy my content and don't want to miss out on updates, subscribe and hit the like button. Many thanks. Now, unless we actually want to reduce the size of this island and destroy a bunch of homes and cause a citywide emergency, we're actually going to have to grab another tile to build this airport on. The question then becomes which tile we're actually going to be buying. And I think I'm going to buy this one that is west of the island. It's going to require some infrastructure to be upgraded to connect the airport with downtown. We got a pretty bustling downtown here full of offices and other amenities, and lots of people will be visiting for business reasons. We've also got the industrial sector here that you can reach quite easily then for the very same purpose. This also generates quite a bit of noise, which is also going to be the case for the airport. So I think it makes sense to have two noise polluters relatively close to each other. Also, this area here is a little more compact and dense than east of downtown. We've got some middle income stuff here that isn't as expensive, and I think that it would make sense for developers to have access to a little land that is a little more cheap due to being close to the airport. Of course, we've still got some really nice houses here that we are likely going to demolish to just upgrade the infrastructure and connect the airport up to the city. But I would have to demolish something either way, no matter where we choose to place the airport. Another good thing of choosing to go west of the city is we also avoid having to adjust our runways so that there's no chance of planes having issues with Mount Soleada. So yeah, let's just buy the tile here. It's super cheap, so that's not really going to be an issue. I'd like to get the outline of the airport kind of mapped out first, because then we can easily start figuring out, okay, how are we gonna upgrade the infrastructure and provide some good connections. So first up, of course, we'll be needing a man-made island, and we're just gonna go with sort of the same terrain height that we've already got. And we're probably gonna cause a bit of a catastrophe by raising this much ground, but it's all for the sake of progress, right? I think something that would be really cool is actually have the airport located a good distance away from the island. I think this is an investment that the city would want to do to not have too much air pollution here. So if we just move out here, something like this, then I think that's a pretty good spot. We'll move into our district tool, because of course we'll have to paint out this district so that we can place an actual airport as such. Yeah, I'm very happy with this location. We'll place down just a completely normal road and then start placing down a terminal just to get an idea of the scale of the airport and the scale of the runways. the amount of terminals we'll be having. So I am planning with just a single runway, at least for now, because it is a small island, and while it may be a tourist and business hotspot, I mean, there is a limited capacity for visitors. It's, you know, the population is 22,000, so it's not a massive place. That may change, of course, if we decide to add other islands and other cities, but for now, I think we're gonna go with a single runway configuration. But we can try and make that look realistic, though. But we're probably gonna have to scale down the runway ever so slightly so that it's not completely realistic, because it's just going to seem very, very big compared to the island. But we'll just go with our gut feeling and not have a specific measure in mind. Also, it looks like the plane paths cross just over the airport, so that's pretty nice, easy connection. Actually, what am I saying? This is not... That's not the... Is it the plane path? It probably is. Maybe it was the ferry path I was actually looking at. Anyways, let's place down our terminal. And I was a bit unsure whether to go for the ultra modern one, but I think I'm gonna do that. Because it is a newish airport. But I'm not gonna go with some of these huge terminals. I don't think that's gonna be necessary. So we'll just do with... We're gonna do with this one, or do we need a double decker just for some added variety? That's a good question. I think we're just gonna go with the single one here. And we're just gonna place that. Let's see. We want planes to take off in this direction, I think. So we'll be placing the terminal down here. Then we'll just be adding a... Oh man, that is so expensive. Where did all my money go? Anyways, we'll place down a concourse so that we have a sufficient amount of terminals. Next up, we are placing down some plane stands, and we're gonna have mostly... Let's see, we're gonna have mostly medium, and then a few smaller ones sprinkled in at the very end. So let's just move over here, and I'll just kind of use the pavement as my guideline for the distance we'll be using here. And these are of course massively expensive, so I'm gonna go with these 5, which should be enough, and then we'll go with the smaller ones out here. And once again, I'm gonna do the same, just let the pavement kind of dictate where I see a good fit for the next one. And I'm gonna... Can I milk some more taxes out of these people? No, oh wait, I can. Come on, pay up. I'm trying to build a prestige project here that won't benefit the average citizen. So I'm gonna need your money. Anyways, we've got more cash flowing in now, which is really nice. And we can add just the final... I'm just gonna go with the free, I think. I've... just increase this to 130 because I think that looks kind of cool. It looks like it's got kind of an end here, a sort of detailing. I think that looks pretty cool, and we might as well actually do the same out here just to have like a certain aesthetic, really. Just grab this and make it 130, and then I'll just twist it ever so slightly without clipping into anything, hopefully. And we've got a bit of an airport design here that I'm pretty happy about. Let's just move this a bit. Cool. Next up are the taxiways, and this is where I historically really mess up. So I'm gonna think for a second. And my second is up, so let's just build them. Planes will be landing here and taking off in the northbound direction. So they'll actually depart from the runway down here into the taxiway system to enter their gates, and then they'll have a very close connection to their runway. So let's just map these out the most simple of ways so that I don't mess anything up. So if we just align here and do like this, and I'll just drag one out here, and of course I'll change the direction. If I make mistakes here and you guys can kind of point out places where planes actually won't be able to probably function in the airport, then I'm not going to be surprised. I'm going to be embarrassed. So I'm really hoping that everything here is just gonna work, but we're gonna thoroughly test this airport before we we conclude anything in this episode, so don't worry about that. But yeah, some of you have seen my other episodes building airports, so you might already know what's in store. But I think this looks pretty fine for now. We are gonna need our runway. Just gonna drag out the district a tiny bit more so that we have some space to work with. And let's see if this is actually enough. So if the runway is out here, then I think the distance is fine. So we're going to need a bit more for this district. And this is a very expensive way of... Oh, I paid 50,000 for some soil. Terrible idea. I should have terraformed that, but yeah. I'm gonna let the simulation run so I can get some more tax dollars. Great, we've got some more moolah to work with now. Let's map out our runway. So let's see how long this is. 1400 meters, and we'll just the scale of the city. We're gonna need at least 1400 meters actually. And that's not true scale at all. Let's see if we can just stretch this ever so slightly. About 1500 meters is probably what we're gonna try. I'm just gonna pause the game and place this, and then we'll have a look. And I think that's fine. It almost runs the entire length of the island. And if we go bigger than this, it might look a little out of place. And I really don't want that either. And we've already got a takeoff here. Or not. Oh yeah, I slowed down the simulation. And it's gonna spin upwards, which... oh, actually, this is fine. Cool. So that's pretty nice. I think before I do anything, I'm just gonna connect up the airport to the city now. So we're gonna need some sort of bridges to connect this whole thing up. I think we're gonna need a bridge. Well, obviously, we'll be needing a bridge connecting to the city. So I'm just gonna sort of create like just a basic bridge at first, and then we can always adjust it. And I've just seen that if we use this small industry road, we actually get a pretty cool looking bridge. It's not necessarily the one we're gonna go with, but I'm just gonna place it down here so I have an idea of how it could look like. Bridges such as this is a pretty good example, I feel, because if we check in here, we've got two roads that we could consider major roads leading from downtown out to the western part of the island. One of them is obviously this road here, which, as you guys can see, is really busy. It connects downtown to these medium density areas, and then it transitions into like less dense areas here. But this is a major thoroughfare through the city, so we could demolish this and try and create some kind of connection here, where we could also connect to this road here, which is sort of a small palm-lined avenue that does much of the same connection. It's probably a little more well connected to the what we've called the landing, which is basically our outside connections. So I'm gonna have to do some sort of demolition work here just to make sure that we've got some space to work with. I'm gonna need to demolish all this stuff that we're seeing here so that we can actually connect this up. And then for starters, I'd like to just try and, if I remove this road, I'd like to, and this road, we're just gonna try and connect this to the bridge by making it turn into an elevated segment here and then connect it up over here. We're just gonna use this road, of course. That is a bit of a better look. Actually, this is just elevated, so that might as well just be, this is 4 lanes, so it might as well just be this road here. And we're just gonna adjust the slope. Actually, let's just continue this part for just a bit. Gonna disable snapping here, give us a bit more freedom. There you go. Now we will delete this one and draw it out anew here, just to see how that looks. Enable snapping again. Delete this. And there's of course some heights that needs to be adjusted here. But it doesn't have to be very elevated. So perhaps this is actually too aggressive. The elevation could happen from an intersection here instead. As the bridge terminates over here, we are gonna need to use this type of segment once more. And this really makes me realize the whole thing is just too tall. There's no need for it to be this tall unless major ship traffic is expected in this strait here between the airport and the island, and I don't think that's realistically gonna be the case. So let's just get it down to this height actually. There you go. And then there's almost not a need for this elevated segment. Then we're just gonna, for starters, we're just gonna connect straight up here to create an intersection, sorry. Because I think it's fine that we've got a road that leads over here as well for like employees and stuff like that. We're gonna need parking lots as well, where this road very much could come into play. So we'll just expand that a bit. We can have parking down here, I feel. And then maybe we should actually create a loop here with parking lots and stuff like that. So if we've got a one-way, 3-lane, one-way road with bus lanes, that is probably going to be a good bet here. And with this loop, we're gonna have to change our bridge layout so that we've got runway roads to think about instead. So if we upgrade these, seeing as we only need a dedicated bus lane for the stops we're gonna be placing right outside the terminal, then we'll need to bring this up here and we'll need to bring this down here and have like a custom change up here. We're gonna remove the markings and then we'll have to create our very own markings here to make this look and feel a little more seamless, obviously. We might need to use these one-way highway ramps to probably connect this up as well, because obviously you will also need to be able, like when you leave the parking lot area, you'll need to connect to the bridge as well. So we can do something like that to mimic this. I really need like a one-lane small runway one-way road. Currently, because the highway one here is just so thick. I think the good thing is that since it's just one lane, we can really squeeze it down and then just create our own markings. So how much did I go for here? We went to 50%, and we can do the same over here. Go all the way down to 50%, and we can just overrule it with our own markings so that it's a little less obvious. We're gonna remove the markings here. Nice. And I know we don't really adhere to lane mathematics here, but we can we can have this be like a yield place, so that you have to, after you made this, you have to just wait for traffic here to clear. And for the actual markings, there are many different approaches we can take to just make sure this all looks nice. But I think for now, this is starting to look pretty good. Although I am going to create a connection here as well, so that this road is just a left turn for people with, you know, that do like quick stops, so people can get to the terminal and don't have any parking they need to take care of. And of course we're gonna do the same here. We're gonna remove the markings, and then we'll just drastically shrink down the one lane highway road we are using here. This also means that this segment here doesn't need to be in both directions. So we can essentially grab this segment here and we can upgrade accordingly. And I'd like to upgrade this because we are not going to have on-street parking on these roads, obviously. So let's see. I think this is starting to look complex, which is always fun, and then it doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense, but that's pretty realistic if you think about it, because like city planning and roadway planning doesn't always make sense in real life. It can look very, very weird. So I'm not too concerned about that. This road here though, we will need to upgrade that to the 4-lane road here to just support the amount of traffic that's going to be from downtown leading out to the airport. So I'm just going to go ahead and upgrade this road throughout. Let's grab these one-ways here because we're going to use them to complicate this interchange here a little further. I'm gonna try and upgrade some of these roads to adhere to lane maths just a little more than I usually do. So if we upgrade this as such, then we've got 2 lanes here, and we can do the same thing over here preferably. And we'll just make this a left turn only, and then we actually, let's just upgrade this as well. Cool. I don't expect as much traffic in this direction crossing south, so it's fine with just a single lane. And I'm just gonna see if it makes sense to actually have these segments be, yeah, it does. We don't need these barriers here. We do need them as raised segments, but here there's just no need. So we've got a pretty good connection now that should be working. It's a big if, but yeah, hopefully. And I think we'll just make room for a little more parking out here. So I'm going to see if I can just create like a road that cuts through here just to add a bit more parking for the terminals in this part of the airport. And then we'll remove this connection, and we are once again going to use these one-laners to connect this whole thing up. We'll see if this will probably need to, like, is there a little node here I can remove? Try and use node controller to undo the mess I've created. What's even going on in? Okay, so we'll just have to delete that for a second. And then we'll create like, we'll grab this road here and we'll connect that up as such. And it has to be one way, of course. We're gonna make these smaller, 50% as we've done so far. And don't worry, we're gonna detail all this up with intersection marking tool to make it look a little cooler than it does now. And in this case, 50% might actually be a little too drastic because they became very small for some reason. So let's just go with like 80. So it's the red run here. We go to 80. Here it's the blue node. And here it's the light green one. So if we go to 80, yeah, that looks a little better. It's got... And this looks fine. And then we can have some more parking out here. Just nice. We're gonna upgrade this to these roads. I'm gonna show you my idea in just a second, and we'll do the same over here where we will have some more parking lots. Cool, but I think before we move on to any more parking lot or road detailing, I'm going to move my attention back to the airport. And something I'd like to do is just to use keys to do some terraforming so that we've got keys along the edges here instead of just this rough terrain. So we'll just have to pick out the type of key that we'd like to use. We've got this one, the original one with a really industrial look, not a fan. Then we've got these symbol seawalls that are fenceless. And we've got these symbol city keys that are also fenceless. And that's a tough one actually. These are maybe a little more industrial looking. We can actually let's just place a few and we'll just compare how they look. So we've got this design that adds lights, but we can of course just remove them. And then we've got this, which is more simplistic. So I think we're actually just going to go with the simplistic version here. So that's this version, and then we're gonna use the parallel mode here to create it parallel to the runway, at least for our very first segment. But we're gonna of course have to tap to switch the creation side, and then we're gonna have to decide how close we want this to be. And I think we need to just move it out a bit to create a bit of extra space, but not too much. We want this airport to be very, very sleek. So maybe this is fine. Just create it here. And then we can come in with some terraforming and hopefully make things look real nice. But I can see that we'll need to invert the segment here. That's easily done here. We can change that around. There you go. And for this area here, I'm just gonna do it the manual way and adjust the heights so that it's aligned. And we'll come in with node controller and make it so that there's no curviness. I don't think they would have cared to implement that. And then of course a little alignment here is probably a good idea just for the sake of symmetry really. And then we've got our runway. Very cool. Got a few nodes here to adjust the height. There you go. We're doing the very same thing down here at the edge of the runway. Just going for a very simple design. I'll disable all the snapping so that I can just be as creative as I want. Something like this. And then we don't want the airport to be very bulky. That's kind of the whole gimmick, the whole idea. So we're gonna go very aggressive here in using the keys, and then we'll just of course make room for the parking lot stuff. Let's rename the airport and then move on to some parking lots. Isla Soleada International Airport. Very creative, I know. We've already got a bit of a passenger count. So yeah, very nice. But it's gonna take a little time for it to ramp up, I think. And we might as well just start adding some of the parking meanwhile. And we'll see if I've got a few ideas that may make this parking stuff look cooler. We've obviously got like a parking garage that we could maybe add and connect up to like a concourse. Let's just see if that's actually gonna work. I'm gonna do a little experimentation here. If I just create this parking garage here and move it so where do cars actually enter from this side. Okay, so we'll have to turn it around. Maybe probably like this. And then we can move it real close to the building. We can have a road out here to service this parking. Let's just try and align this road first. I don't know if this is gonna work, guys, but I mean, It's worth a shot, right? Gonna get this road real close to the edge here. Then we're gonna add the parking garage. It's not really far enough because I guess my idea is to grab one of these concourse networks and then actually like draw it into the parking garage here. Maybe that's gonna work okay. I'm just gonna reduce the size of these to like 90, make them a little less bulky. And then this segment here, the red one, I'm going to reduce that substantially so that it looks like more like you know, a sort of a sky bridge leading into the parking garage. Let's see if I can just find the node here and adjust it. Yeah, something like this. Looks it's a little weird, right? But I mean, everything I make is a little weird, so this is just par for the course. We'll just sink that in there, and we can adjust this road even more actually. Now we've obviously got some terrain issues here, but that's fixable. If we go ahead and grab the rural road here, we can make a road here that we then lower. So basically we are gonna treat this as like a terrain, like a terraforming tool. Like so, and then we can go in here and just cover this whole thing up with a filler. Some sort, not stripes, obviously, but if we make it solid and then change the color to like a bluish tone. Cool, so we've got our garage here, but then we'll have our actual like parking lots up here. And I think I'm just gonna use a ton of these. And then I'm going to attempt to use these roads a little more actively as sort of parking lot roads. And then maybe we can cover them up with a certain like IMT markings as well. So let's just try. So we know we're gonna need 4 cells for the parking lots. Then we'll do some manual adjustment to see if my idea is gonna pan out. I'm not too sure right now. But for starters, we're just going to add the parking we need. And I'm just gonna make sure that there's like space for a pathway in between. Cool, we've got our pathways here. We're gonna detail this up later with like palms and stuff. We'll need to fence this in to ensure that we don't have people crossing the runway, obviously. So we're gonna look for the airport fence, which we've got here, and then we're just gonna go ham with the fencing. We're just gonna very aggressively fence in the entire parking lot structure, of course. With the basics of parking placed, I want to add just a very simple hotel so that people that just need like a place to rest for a day or two while in close vicinity to the airport can actually just do that. So I'm just figuring out what kind of hotel I want, because I really don't want it to be too big, but it also needs to have sort of a modern look. So for instance, this city hotel I feel is it's way too big for the location. So I'm probably, and the budget air hotel, not really fan of like the aesthetics of the building. It's ugly. The budget hotel, I think, is a bit of a better fit, and we may just be able to place 2 of these and make it seem like a one joint structure. It's gonna make it a little easier as well to just like fit it in here. So let's see how we would go about doing this. 1 here, and then just fuse the other one into it like so. And then if we use barb mod, we should be able to pretty easily remove the parking spaces on the buildings. Let's see, there's also a version here. There you go. And we'll use the same type of pathways that we've used in other parts of the airport to create like a joint look. And maybe this node, yeah, it's having a bit of an issue, but it's fixable with a little adjustment with node controller. And there you go. We've got airport hotels as well, 2 of them actually. One of them is complaining about no road access, but that's okay. We don't really care about that. And we've got one of the first. Not one of the first, we actually got plenty of planes that depart and arrive here, so unfortunately not carrying any passengers, but I'm hoping things will speed up as we move along. We're gonna need a control tower, but I'd also like to see if I can just like squeeze in an airport lounge just to add a bit of variety. So if I add it there and then just, if I can actually click this, remove, there you go. So we've got a pretty cool lounge here where you've got awesome views of the airport. And then we needed the control tower, ultra modern control tower. I'm gonna place it down here. There we go. I think that looks to be a pretty cool fit. And I'd like to add just a few more structures to our airport here. So we'll see if we can fit in a few hangars somewhere, and then preferably also a fuel depot somewhere. So maybe we'll be able to, let's see if there's actually room for some hangars here near the parking lot. Yeah, not really, not the big ones at least. The small ones might actually be able to fit, but not the big ones. And then I also need the fuel depot, so it's very much whether we should have some hangars down here and then the fuel depot over here, or we should switch that around. But I think maybe I'll start by placing some hangars down here. And they've got a ton of stuff on their backside, which does complicate things ever so slightly. Not bad, huh? And we just, of course, still fence the whole thing in, and we'll need a bit of terraforming with this change, obviously. But yeah, everything's not really the same height at my airport, which is a bit unfortunate. That would have made it a little easier if I had been better at just aligning it, but it's okay. The height differences are pretty minimal throughout. That covers our hangars. I'll make some custom service roads in just a second. Actually, that doesn't cover it. We're gonna need to move them a bit like so. And I was hoping to actually bring the runway up just a tiny smidge closer. So I'm just gonna delete one of the hangars. I just don't think we have the space for it. And then I'm hoping that I can just grab this whole thing and just move the runway slightly closer. And I know this is at the cost of realism, but it's also just to make the airport a little more snug, so that it's not too imposing. Fuel depot, we'll probably need to, oh, that's not what it's called. What is it called? Aviation fuel station. Of course. I think I'll just be adjusting this so that we've got, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have issues if I just squish this in. Yeah. I mean, there is room. Technically. There's just about room, but if I grab these nodes and just move them a bit, then that's probably better. Now, I need some service roads, and that's these smaller roads that vehicles are going to be using throughout the airport. And we've got taxiways and we've got runways, but we don't really have dedicated service roads in vanilla. You got to remember this map, the city. I'm playing with lots of mods, but I don't have any custom assets or decals or props. It's all vanilla or DLC, official DLC stuff. So that's something to keep in mind. But I'm just gonna make a custom one then, because I think if we grab the two-way highway, I can squeeze that together with node controller quite substantially, and then I can just create my completely custom skin with intersection marking tool, and that's one way we're gonna get a service, a type of service road that we can use. So I'll try to place, I'll just try to map out a network of these service roads, and then I'll try to squeeze them all together. And then I'll be adding my custom, I guess you could say, custom texture basically by using IMG. So first I'm just gonna map this out. Cool. I'm going to come through with node controller and reduce them all to about 70, and I'm gonna speed this up, don't worry, because this is content creator privilege. All right, that was certainly very exciting. I'm gonna cut that out. We'll need to create our custom theme now, our custom skin. So I'm just going to create a filler, and I think I'm just gonna select asphalt and make it quite a bit darker. Something like this. And then we are gonna have a, some dashes going down here. Just change them up a bit, and I'll add like an orange tint, and we'll add a bit of cracks and stuff to the whole thing. And I think this is pretty much what we'll be going for. I don't want to make it too complex. Then we should be able to say apply to whole street. Boom. So that added it to almost everywhere. And then we can of course come in and add it to the remaining streets. And of course, as we zoom out, this disappears because that's just how it works. But most of the time it's gonna look sweet, and it's better than the highway theme. Really feel that. And I think that pretty much covers everything. We're just gonna grab the nodes that stick out at certain places, and then we're gonna lower them a bit into the ground. And then obviously I'm gonna have to remove these the lights here. And I've just created a very simple theme for the intersections that I should then be able to, of course I can't do it here because it's not a four-way, but I should be able to just paste it here. And then afterwards I'm just gonna remove the markings. I don't really want those. So I can come in here with node controller and I can say remove, no wait, I can't actually remove the arrows. I need to jump in here with traffic manager and remove them. So that's also gonna be a little time consuming. Once again, a really fun task. And now friends, I think it's time we start detailing this bad boy up. So yeah, let's add the aprons, trees and stuff out here, some extra details to the parking lots, and I'll get back to you in just a second when that's all added. And then we'll look into improving the connections to the city and at least getting some intersection marking tool markings here. Let's go. And as we see the first actual passenger plane full of passengers arriving, that concludes the detailing session of the airport for now at least. And color me surprised as I realized that this very cool looking bridge that is now finally carrying traffic and lots of pedestrian traffic is actually just a 2-laner. It's not 4 lanes, even though it's kind of wide. So I'll probably have to switch that out because any sort of lane mathematics here just goes completely out the window with this little realization. But for now I'm just gonna let it stay because it looks cool, right? It's a pretty beautiful thing, and we'll see if it can actually handle the traffic. I'm hopeful that's gonna be the case. Next up, we just need to fill out this area here, but before we do that, I'd like to add like a dedicated bus that kind of covers downtown and then moves all the way out to the airport. So it's just going to be a bus that has like a dedicated stop here at the very center of downtown, so like here basically, and then has a stop out at the airport and all the way into downtown again, just like a loop. So I'll add a stop here, and then we're moving back in here and we'll complete the line. So that's just gonna be a small line that we'll have going for now. Let's see which one is it here. So we can just call it the airport hopper, and I'll just add purple because why not. And then we need a bus dedicated to the airport, and be fun with like a smaller bus, like a mini bus maybe actually, and then just have it. We'll pick. Well, this is difficult. We'll pick. There was a bus here with about 25 capacity. This one. Or actually it would be more fun to have like the minibus, but then just have additional vehicles. It only has 2 stops, so but 6 vehicles, that's probably a good start at least. And then the idea with this bus service is that it's very, very frequent, but smaller buses, so that you can grab one like every 5 minutes or so, leaving for the airport. But yeah, it leaves us with a bit of space here that we need to fix up, and of course add some markings to this terrible looking intersection that we've got here right now. So let's add some buildings, and I'm thinking that for this particular place it's probably going to be a bit higher density because it's right next to like a main road. So if we just go and grab some high density stuff that is kind of narrow in character, then I think that's a good start. And we're just gonna plop all the buildings that we want, and it's of course gonna have like a commercial character as well. And then I'll just be mixing up the density between low and medium density, just like much of this area is already mixed up like that actually. And I think first let's just add some commercial bases. So I'll just grab low density commercial, add some of the bases, and then we can add some taller buildings to those spaces if we want to. So here's like a dining place, a shop of some sort. And then here is a good spot I feel for a tower. A taller building using this as its base. Maybe even a skyscraper. If I've got a cool looking one at least. Let's see. Something like this is, I feel, a pretty good fit, and we'll just move that into these buildings so that it looks like it's a part of a single structure. I'm gonna make this white, and we'll just add a structure back here as well. Cool, so definitely some higher development stuff here near this major intersection, which I think makes pretty good sense. I'll see if I got like a small shop of sorts that we can like flank this area with. Because this is a bit of an awkward angle, of course, so we're just gonna fuse these buildings together. Have a bit of an open square here, maybe for like, can add a few planters or plants. Like so. And then we'll need to fill this in with something. Or actually just have it like an open spot, and then we'll do the most simple of detailing. Which basically just involves spam, not the palms, no. Involves spamming this bush and just adding a bit of greenery. Very low, it's very low effort, but it does also add. I feel it adds a lot. And then we'll come in here and drop a lot of palms. And over here we're gonna use a different type than the one the road is lined with. Some taller ones. And some beautiful flowers just to round it all off. That's basically that block all detailed up. We're gonna grab the bushes here and then we're just gonna add them all through here as well. Bit of landscaping here, the intersection. And I always find it funny that, you know, designers will try to make this look nice in real life by adding tons of landscaping, but, you know, in reality something like this is not really friendly for pedestrians in any way. It's a bit of a mess, really. But yeah, I mean, we have to make messy things if it's to feel and look a little realistic, you know? Because things aren't just perfectly planned and created from the get-go. And we've got a few more blocks to fill out here. And yeah, I'm gonna change the density up a bit, add a few more population. And then here we're just gonna start filling out with some smaller buildings. Leaving us with a single open spot. We can place something here, hopefully. Let's see if we've got something that could be a good fit. Cool. We've got our block all filled up now. So that didn't take that long. And then, yeah, simple landscaping so that we can wrap up the episode. And I don't think I want anything over here. Maybe we'll just drag this this pathway here so that there's a tiny bit of park landscape here, which you'd never use because you're right next to like a busy road. But, you know, and these houses are actually quite nice. So I want like a buffer zone here with some big trees. Dense forest, basically, to like frame in these buildings so that it's a little less obvious that they're so close to a big road, basically. Cool. Pretty happy so far. And then let's just do some symbol markings here. And with my attempt to configure this complete mess, that concludes our build. Like I said, we'll have to upgrade the road or make some better lane mathematics at some point in time, but currently the city is apparently very walkable because we've got a ton of foot traffic crossing the bridge here to the airport. We're also seeing our minibuses being almost filled up, so it seems like having 6 vehicles service this very direct line is a pretty good idea. Let's just see if we've got bit of activity in downtown, or if we can find a bus that's actually en route. Yeah, we've got a couple here leading to the airport, so very nice to see a bit of activity. I guess the good question is whether the airport actually functions as it should, because I mean, I built it right, but what I'm seeing is that we've got a 50-50 split in incoming and outgoing traffic. I've seen planes land and depart. So I think things are working, but I may have overlooked something, and in that case, you guys know the drill. Let me know, and we'll see just how embarrassed I'll be when I see the comments and reactions to this video. But like I said, that wraps up the episode. My question now is, what would you guys like to see next in Isla Soleada? I've already got a ton of cool suggestions. Do you still want to see like a university? Maybe an additional island, something like that. Maybe we need more transportation to the airport. Whatever input you guys have, I'm always happy to read comments and all the wonderful feedback I get. But that really wraps up the episode. I'll shoot some nice cinematics now, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.